We dive into the second half of the Pioneer League baseball season this week on Bird Watching. I'm AJ Mazzolini of the Missoulian newspaper. Through 1 week of the second season, the Missoula Osprey are playing above 500 ball. They are 4-3 in that first week. That included a rainout and a makeup for a doubleheader. And at 4-3, the Osprey trail only the Great Falls Voyagers in the North Division. The crazy hot Great Falls Voyagers, that is. They are 6-1 so far in that first 7 games. And that leaves the first half champion, Helena Brewers, wallowing toward the bottom there with the Billings Mustangs. Both of those teams have struggled so far in the second going. Now, the Great Falls Voyagers are, they're 9 of their last 11 overall have been victories. And the Osprey will see a little bit more Great Falls heading forward. Haven't played them yet in the second half. And now to talk a little bit more about this first week of the second half for the Osprey, it's been offense, at least individually, that really has been the story for Missoula. Now, your individual players have been tearing the cover off the ball at the plate. Players like catcher Jose Caliz, who is on fire right now, playing mostly out of the designated hitter role because of he's the backup catcher to first-round draft pick from last year, Striker Traha. Now, Caliz has recently even hit for the cycle, and he's boosted his average all the way up to 372 for the overall season. That's second overall in the Pioneer League for batting right now, which is pretty good for a guy who's coming in supposed to be a backup this season. Another Osprey player who's actually been a little bit overshadowed by Caliz's crazy wildfire in the summer here is shortstop Joe Munoz. Now, after the first 2.5 weeks of the season, Munoz was batting only a .52. He was struggling. He was committing errors in the field. The errors have still hounded the shortstop a little bit, but the bat has really come around. In July, he batted .360 with 5 home runs and 25 RBIs, and that helped him win the Arizona Diamondbacks Player of the Month for the minor leagues. Overall, over all rungs of that ladder. He's a second-round draft pick from last year, so I'm sure they're quite happy to see Munoz turning things around a little bit, especially at the plate after those struggles. There's a couple other guys who've been hitting the ball real well, guys like Jake Mayers and Daniel Palka, who have been hitting home runs and hitting with a lot of power in the middle of the lineup, making things pretty fierce. But all that hot hitting individually hasn't really translated to a lot of runs being scored for the Osprey yet, at least in the second half. Through 7 games, the O's are averaging just a hair above 4 runs per game, which is actually less than they average for the entire season, which is a little bit closer to 5. So it's a little interesting how that's sort of worked out. The guys in the middle are mashing the ball right now, but everybody else is seeming to cool off a little bit, and that's led to that a little bit closer to a 500 overall record. We're just finishing up a 6-game homestand, or excuse me, a 7-game homestand that opened the second half. 3 games against Helena, 4 games against Billings, and now the O's are going to be heading out on the road for 6 games, headed back to Helena to repay the favor, and then down to Great Falls to play that super hot team, the Voyagers, down there. So we'll see what it looks like in another week when they come back up to Missoula for another long homestand against some of those Southern Division foes. We'll see where they are there, and we can kind of adjust for the second half of the season, see what kind of a playoff push we might be getting out of the Osprey this season. Our normal print feature that goes along with bird watching